To start this lecture, I just want to show you that I did update my notes. So these are online. Shows you how to validate strings. When you're validating strings, you should be checking to make sure that they're not too big. Okay. Or, as we were talking about today in RDD, making sure they're the right size. If you're looking for a state code, you should have 2 characters. You're looking for a zip code, you should have 5 characters. So here I'm checking to make sure the length is greater than first name length. You could say if the length is equal to the zip code length. And if it's not equal to, then you tell them it has to be 5 characters. So you can use the same logic for that. What we haven't done, and I want to do today, is capitalize if appropriate here. So if the string the user entered is appropriate, they've entered something, then we want to capitalize it appropriately. So let's go to that then and get that out of the way. So if I run this program here, I probably should have tried that before I turned off the recording. That didn't take long. If I type my name in here, lol lowercase, it just leaves it alone. I don't get any error messages, but it leaves it alone. What I would like it to do is automatically capitalize that. That's relatively simple to do. So I'm going to show you that first, but this isn't the end-all be-all here. And it's the business class's job to do this. It's the business class that decides whether or not we should be capitalizing. Because that's a business rule, right? Capitalize it on the way out. Make it all uppercase if that's the case. In this case, I want to capitalize it. If everything's cool, then save it. But before we save it, let's capitalize it. So the value is equal to, now how do I capitalize it? Volcker Tools has built into it a v proper case function. Proper case is a terminology that Microsoft uses for this. It capitalizes stuff properly. And in my case, it will capitalize everything unless it's one of these little itty bitty words, and it leaves it alone. But only if it's in the middle. If it's at the beginning, it capitalizes a, capitalizes the. This one I wrote pretty much to make me happy when I'm putting in my book titles. The only thing it doesn't do very well is if I rephrase my book, the lost symbol, I often will type that in as lost symbol, comma, the. So it doesn't alphabetize under the. I hate it when they alphabetize under the. In that case, it leaves it lowercase because it's not at the beginning, and that's a little annoying. I haven't fixed that yet. But this should capitalize things pretty well. It also capitalizes after the letters M-A-C, M-C, or O apostrophe. Last one's for my wife's last name. She hates it when it doesn't get capitalized automatically. So I've modified my code. And you can study this if you want. There's all kinds of fun string functions in there. Substring, remove, insert, index of, more substrings. Lots of nice string functions in there. So you can try to take a look at this and figure it out. I'm not sure I could figure it out anymore. This one's getting fairly old now. Been using it for a long time. But this is a function. It's a method. It returns a string. So I have to send it a string, the original string. It does its magic and then sends back the new and improved version. So if I want to use this, I have to send it a string and then do the vtools v proper case. Remember when you did on format, you always had to say vtools first to let it know it's in the class. V proper case, and then what do you want capitalized? So this says take whatever's in here, capitalize it, and then put it right back on top of itself. And then store it in the business class. Now this changes it in the business class, but it doesn't change it in the GUI. So I also have to write code in the GUI so that when, let's collapse my data transfer events, first name is the only one I've written so far. If everything's cool, what I do here looks really kind of bizarre. if you look at that carefully, I took what's in the text box, put it in business class, and then I took what's in the business class and put it in the text box. That seems weird unless you know that the business class may be capitalizing it. So remember what this says. When I leave the first name box, take whatever's in that text box and put it in and send it to the business class. If that crashes, we get an exception. We never do this next statement. We jump right over it and we're down here. Okay. But if this succeeds, then we execute this command, which says, okay, now bring it back again because it may have been capitalized by the business class and I want to display that. That first piece of code I wrote just changed it inside the business class. So now this says take whatever's in the business class and bring it back to the form. Magic. Unfortunately, there's one flaw with my little routine. I can't anticipate everything. It capitalized the I. But that's not the way Apple does it. So I can come back here and I can put a little I in there, and when I leave it says, no, let me fix that for you. I hate that. Occasionally there are capitalizations that just don't quite fit in my to TitleCase. I want to be able to handle Mac Donald and capitalize the D. But if I do that, then Macintosh and machine and all those, the letter after the C gets capitalized. So the solution to that is to let the user fix it. If the user fixes it, don't mess with it. Well, how do we know if the user fixed it? My philosophy here is if it started out blank, go ahead and capitalize it. If it had text in it already, don't mess with it because the user might have fixed it, changed it. How do I know if it had something in it? Simple. If the customer first name is equal to the empty string, then capitalize the value. Otherwise, don't. And in any case, transfer it. So it'll either capitalize or it'll leave it alone. Makes sense logically? Feels like Friday. You all look like Friday right now. So this says, okay, here's a new first name. Is it blank? If it is, throw exception. Is it too long? If it is, throw exception. No, it's not. Then is it blank? If is the original value, this is not the new value. This is the current value of customer first name. Up here, I'm checking this is the new value. Now I'm saying, okay, the original value, is it equal to the empty string? If it is, then take the new value, capitalize it, and save it. If it's not the empty string, that means there's already something in there. Don't capitalize it, just leave it alone, take whatever the new value is, and put it in there. So what this should do is allow me to change a capitalization to make it look the way I want. Initially, it capitalizes the I because it was blank when I started. But now, if I come back, Macintosh has been stored in the first name field. I'm changing it. And so now when I say take this new one, it looks at it, says, not blank, leaves it alone. I can even say, I don't even want that capitalized. Leaves it alone. It only capitalizes it the first time. If I want it to automatically capitalize, I train my users. Yeah, take it out, leave, come back. What? Should be blank. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. What happened when I sent it blank? Said that's not legal. First name's required. It's just, this is the first time I remember this happening. And it never saved the blank. It left the old Macintosh in there. If you send it blank, it never saves it. That's not good. So how do I fix that? I have an idea. The way this is written right now is I only transfer if it's legal. If it's too long or if it's too short, it's blank. I never transfer it. I never change what's in my business class. Maybe I should change it regardless. That's not what I meant to do. Oh, come on. Mac's making me crazy. Now it says, whatever that new value is, save it. I don't care if it's good or not. Ugh. That should be right. No. What bothers me is this part, if it's too long. If it's too long and I put something in there, that may cause trouble later. Probably will. But if it's too long, no, it's not going to be a problem. Let's try that. So here we go back to Macintosh again. What? This changed it, so this customer value is, nope, that's not going to work. What happened is I changed my customer value, and then down here I said, is my customer value equal to the empty string? Not anymore. I changed it way up there. Darn it. I'm going to have to ponder that. I've tried a couple of things. If it's empty, save the empty but yell at them. Okay, that might work. If it's not empty, then you'd end up here. We never save it, so that'd be good. And then if it's not empty, it's new, then we check, this might work. Notice how confident I am. Might work. Except I can't type anymore. Okay, it's capital I, still have the capital I. And if I take the I out, it leaves it alone. That's cool. But what wasn't working before is what happens if I wipe it out, leave. It should allow me to enter a new one and capitalize it. This might get confusing, so I'm going to document it. I'm erasing the first name. I'm allowing it. I'm doing it. I'm not allowing it. I'm still throwing an exception. I'm going to erase so that I can capitalize again next time around, because if it starts out blank, it recapitalizes. How come that's never burned me before? Because I've never tried it on a required field. All right, So that works. Now let's make that quick fix, same kind of fix, to last name. And this might be a little extreme, but I'm going to do it anyways. That was a search and replace. That was a little quicker than trying to find them all. So that one's not capitalized, right? So the logic's pretty much the same. Is there another one? Oh, there's one in the comment in the error message. There it is. The logic's identical. First name. Bob. That's cool. Leaves it alone. There's my wife's last name. Oh. If the value is the empty string, customer last name equals the value. Else, if customer equals the empty string, customer last name. Why didn't it capitalize her last name? That makes no sense. Boy, it's a good day. All right, so you get to watch me debug and what happens if my program doesn't work, and I don't know why. Sometimes I know why right away. But if you don't, we've got to be coming in here. I want to see what it's doing. When I leave, I should hit that breakpoint. I did. What's in value? O'Keefe. If that's equal to the empty string, it's not. So it should skip over this. Did. If the length is greater than the max last name length, shouldn't be, 725. Nope, skip that. If the customer name equals the empty string, it is. So we should be doing this. Of value, which is O'Keefe. O'Keefe. Oh. Your instructor's an idiot. Anybody know? That worked, right? It did. Which means it's got to be on the GUI side. I never put it back in the GUI. Remember that? Put it over there and send it back. Oh. That's where the debugger comes in, and this is the thought process you got to learn to go through. So here's my form. There's last name, or there's first name, but I never did that for the last name. Hallelujah. That was way too hard. But that first error, where it wasn't letting me recapitalize it, is not what I expected. The second one, I should have been able to figure out. It was too much in a hurry. But you see now what starts to happen. Where's my error? Is it in the GUI? Is it in the business class? Is it in the validation? Later on, the database gets involved. We get to web programming, it gets even worse. There's all these different places where you could be causing it, where you could have errors, and it's tough to track down. So there's code to steal for capitalization. Remember, it's two parts. The business class capitalizes it, but the GUI has to redisplay that capitalized version, otherwise you never see it. It was capitalized. O'Keefe was capitalized before I fixed this. It just never displayed it so I could see it. Questions? In addition to capitalizing, we can also format. Now this is all GUI. The business class does not have rules in it for how we want to display stuff because the business class doesn't display. I'm not changing the physical number. I'm just changing the way it displays. So the GUI gets to do this. After I validate my coupon, another very common thing to do is format it. No? What's your problem? What does it say? Oh, decimal. Oh, coupon dot value to string. Why did I have to do dot value? Because it's nullable. Remember from last time, whenever you make a value or property nullable, you have to ask for its value. I saw the question mark and that was my clue. You get used to that after a little bit. So this says, take what's in the text box, parse it as a decimal, and throw it to the business class. Then take whatever the business class has, its value, to-string it for currency, put it back in the text box. So when I put coupon value of 1.2 in there, the 1.2 gets sent to the business class. Business class said, that's cool. And it comes back. And the GUI says, oh, you liked it. Good. Well, in that case, let me pretty that up for the user so it looks nice. That's all we're doing there. If your number could be so large that you'd have commas in it, I'd do the same thing for integers. I don't normally format my integers unless it's possible for it to be 2,000 or 1,000. Then I like to see the commas. I'm almost hesitant to show you this now because the latest and greatest form objects for HTML5 accept numbers. They look like a numeric up-down. You can't type commas in them. You can't put dollar signs in them. You can't format numbers anymore if it's a text field on an HTML page. It's like trying to format this with a dollar sign. You can't do it. But this isn't HTML. This is a desktop application. I can do that. But now that's $1.20. Watch. It was good a minute ago. Why is it bad now? Because it's formatted. And I didn't send the unformatted version. If I look at that error message, it's horrendous. Input string was not in the correct format. That didn't come from my business class. That's C# said, hey, I tried to do this and it crashed, so it jumped down here and gave me the message. Even though it wasn't mine, it jumped down there and gave me the message saying I couldn't unformat it. Or I couldn't process it. It tried to parse and it failed. So the downside of catching our errors is sometimes you catch errors that aren't yours, that you don't expect. But you at least get the error message and you can look. Before, my program would have crashed, right? If you tried to parse an unformatted string or a formatted string, your program would have crashed and you would fix it. Here it's not crashing, but it's giving me an error marker saying this string is not in the right format. So I still have to fix it. Because I formatted it, now I have to unformat it. That hasn't changed. I like formatted strings, if you can't tell. Unfortunately, if they're formatted, they can't be parsed, so you have to unformat them first so that you can parse them. It's the same thing you did back in Unit 4, Programming Logic Beginning. I think I have all my inputs formatted lovely, automatically capitalized, add some dollar signs and decimal places to my coupon value. Does it really matter that it doesn't show up as 1.2? Does if you're anal. And if you aren't developing that trait yet, be patient, it's coming. All right. All the rest of this is pretty much the same. These are pieces of code that show you the logic for how to do optional numbers, how to do required numbers, etc., and dates. So when you're doing your validation for your gas mileage program, there's a lot of numbers there. There's a date there that you need to validate. Here's the logic. I don't have an example here necessarily of numbers that are optional. Yes, I do. Do I have one that's required? No. Actually, if it's required, that be a numeric up down? No, not necessarily. You just got done with the error provider lab. Any questions on that? All understand what you did. Remember, you don't display, this says display an error message. Almost never. Because the error message is coming from the business class, so you should be displaying the EX message. That's the message that came from the business class. Now I know why you guys are making that mistake, but I like it in there. Lets me explain it. Usually an error provider is displaying an error message that's coming from the business class, so it should be ex.message. Not only that, if you make an error like I just did by not unformatting, you still get the message. It's basic syntax. There's the EX message that you were supposed to be copying. And here's where I clear it, above the try. I'm going to change the price in my business class. I'm going to assume it's good first, and then I'm going to try it. If it fails, I turn the error marker right back on again. That simplifies it. I could put it in here, but then I have to figure out which one, where does it go, and I just find it's easier to turn it off. And then if you find an error, turn it right back on again with a new error message. Maybe it's the same error message. Here's my unformatting. You can change the location. I don't think this was part of the lab, was it? I think I took this out. You can change the location of that error icon. By default, it sits X number of pixels away from the end of the field. And it's on the right-hand side. But you can change it. So let's just go into form load here as a trial. I'm not going to, I might comment it out. But I'm going to say that my error provider, error provider dot set location, is that what it was?
Icon padding.
Set icon alignment, nice. Set icon alignment for who still comes first, text first name. And then you type location, so we said. After you type a comma, a list of available locations will appear, really. Error icon alignment value. Error icon alignment dot bottom left, bottom right, middle. So I can do middle left. Normally those will pop up automatically. I was just doing too much dinking around there. So let's try that. Now when I run and I make an error in the first name, icon shows up on the other side. Normally I only do that if I have a box that's way out here and there's no room for an icon. My users get real used to, I've noticed I've left a little extra room here just for the error icons. My users get used to the error icons on the right. If I put them on the other side, it just kind of freaks them out. So you can do that. I don't do it very often. If you were to do it, I would suggest you do it for all the fields. Put them all on the right, on the left, I'm sorry, if you wish. You can also change the padding. The padding by default is like 0 or 5 pixels, so it shifts it over 5 pixels. If you wish, you can adjust it by a pixel amount. So it looks it's the same thing, except it's icon padding. For text first name, and my notes suggest maybe a -10. It's pushed over 5. From position 0, go back 10. Because right now the error marker kind of sits on top of my last name, doesn't it? Now it doesn't step on the last name. Still in the same location, but it doesn't cover up the first letter or two. Couldn't I just spread those out a little bit more? Yeah, but then I'd have to make my date picker larger. That would just be painful. I don't know if I want to do that. There's lots of ways around this. Just want to show you that you can move these error icons around. I think I'll leave that one. I think if it goes anywhere, it belongs down here and initialize the form. You all have tested with your labs that the length icon and the max last name, last first name, all of those work. So now I'm going to put them back. And now that I'm putting them back, these error messages for too many pies, not enough pies, wrong dates, too long a name will never show up. I will never get that error. I can't. The GUI is preventing it. But it's still best to have it in the business class so that if the GUI doesn't do it, if the GUI programmer doesn't check for it, your business class still prevents this big old long, what was it, Andy? You had a bunch of I's that were about this long. Yep. Okay. I don't want to try to put that, it'll go into the database. The database will just chop it off. It'll give a warning and your program will never show it. But I do want to put these back because it makes my GUI smarter. Prevents my user from even trying to send an error to the business class. All right, now what? Form level validation. We've been doing field level, right? Where every time you leave a field, it yells at you. Some users don't like that. If they don't like it, a little later, not today, but next time, I'm going to show you a way to wait till they hit save and then check everything. And give them 6 error markers if that's what they deserve. You wait until they hit save. That's about as much as I'm going to talk about. I don't like that technique. If you want to try it, you can. I am going to show you a relatively quick way to make that happen. You just don't do the validating of it. You do other things instead. Somebody said, how come we're not validating soda? We haven't learned how yet. We have more rules. Here's the list of acceptable sodas. How do I get that? Right now, my soda is being done by load soda. How does the GUI know what the acceptable sodas are? It's not supposed to know. The business class has all the rules in it. But I need to, again, communicate that. Here's the rules in the business class. I need to communicate it to the form to say, in your combo box, here's the list. Fill it up. The way we're going to do that is with something called an array. We touched on it briefly. We talked about collections last semester. Right? An array is just an underpowered collection. It's a whole bunch of values all stored in one variable name. That's the, I don't know if it's a technical definition, but it's a fairly clear definition of what an array is. So let's just do an example that might make it even more clear. This is going to be another business constant. I believe I can say this, public constant. These are going to be strings. I'm going to have to check my syntax here. And then we're going to have valid sodas. Now, let's check the syntax. Public static read only. I guess we can't make it constant because it's an array. Public static read only. That should sound familiar. It's the same thing we had to do with our dates. Obviously can't have a public constant, we can't have a constant array. So instead, we have a public static array, and I think my notes said private. No, it says public. Okay. Then there's a set of square brackets right there after the word string. Every language does this a little different. That's why I had to look. It's either here or it's there. The square brackets after the word string said this is not one string. It's an entire array of strings. And they're all called valid sodas. But they're indexed. Remember index from last semester? It's a counter. Where do we start counting? 0. Right? Computers counted 0. So the first soda that I put on the list is going to be valid sodas sub 0. The next soda is going to be valid sodas sub 1, and so on. They're all called valid sodas, but I have to designate which one of them I want. That's an array. It's just like one string, but it's a bunch of strings, all with the same name. Now, how do we fill those up? Lots of ways. But for our purposes for validation here, here's the easy way. You create in square brackets a list. And over here I have a list. Let's push those over so I can see. Whoops. New language. Curly brackets. Seems odd. Use square brackets to designate an array, so if you want to initialize it with some values, put them in curly brackets. Does not make sense to me, but that's what we got. Cola. And I can just keep going here now, and I think we got time. Diet Cola and lemon lime. I was told one year that there's no way you're ever going to have a soda machine with Pepsi and Coke and all that because they just don't get along together. So I have generic names. Lemonade, orange spunk, nice. Root beer, starting to run out of room. Remember, we can split a line anywhere except inside of a string literal. So I'm going to put the comma there and then continue my list underneath it. How many items can you have in an array? How much memory you got in your computer? They can be as large, you can have as many items as you want. This is actually pretty much nothing at all. And that's it. Semicolon. So now I have a list of valid sodas. So when I'm validating my sodas, I can check to see if it's on the list. But soda is optional, so blank is also acceptable if the new value is equal to the empty string, or, do you remember how we did this last semester? If valid sodas, that's an array, dot contains. No? Wrong language again. That's right. Oh, it's the other way. That's the array name dot contains value. That's the array name dot contains. Doesn't want to. Must be Friday. Not my day. Well, my notes, I'm following my notes, all right? Contains value.
Hard to see before valid soda.
No? Because there's a parenthesis right there.
Oh.
If I weren't checking for null, that would be.
One. You need more.
Oh, I don't think so. If valid sodas. There's my notes, right? If I had that error in there for 2 years and still haven't cleaned it out of my notes. All right. So here we Google it, right? C# array contains. Lowercase contains. Array dot contain. Ooh. Array dot contains, then the name of the array, then what I'm looking for. Oh boy. Is that a capital array? Probably. Yep. Array dot contains. Doesn't like that either, but we're going to keep going. Are you happy now? Still not happy. System array does not contain a definition for contains. Come on. This is C#, right? That's what I asked for. It's got a semicolon. Array contains a red. JavaScript. Oh. Too far. That's MSDN. Why did they show me a JavaScript object that contains a value? Array index of. What the heck? I can't believe that's in my notes. Still can't copy it right. Oh. All right, I'm going to Swift. Finally. This is not the most intuitive syntax. That's why it's causing me trouble. If array index of valid sodas, comma, value. If that equals -1, because that's what this says. If it's greater than -1, that means I found it. I want to know if it's missing. No, I want to know if I found it. So let's go back. Let's use their example. And actually, I think I prefer this. If it's greater than or equal to 0, that means I found it. So now the if goes back up here. I think I finally got it figured out. If, parentheses, the new value is the empty string, or the index of value in that array is greater than 0, then use it. Holy cow. I'm going to update those notes. So I'd probably look at last year's recording and be just as embarrassed. But again, I'm real tempted just to leave it, except that you guys go back there for validation and for reference. Real tempted to leave it because once again, you get to see how programmers, I hate to call myself a programmer today, but how programmers think. This is the way it works in other languages. Contains, that's VB probably. So why doesn't it work here? Then I went and searched for it. I Googled it. Notice I Googled contains, right? Because that's what I thought. Today, you can even Google the wrong stuff and still find the right answer, but that's part of the skill set, is to go to Google and find what you're looking for. But I will change my notes. So this says, if all that's true, that's good. Otherwise, if, let's line everybody up here. If that's true, then set the soda value, and I've been using curly brackets, so I should put them in there. Else, throw an exception, right? Same as before. This is the tricky part. Throw a new exception. You must select a soda from this list. Now, how do I get the list? I'm going to save that for next time because I'm running out of time. However, I still have to be able to catch this. And the other thing I haven't done yet is, how do I take that array that's in the business class and put it in my combo box? That's the good news. It's a simple for loop. For each string, call it item. You know what, this is worth writing just because it's been a while since you've seen a for loop. For each. I need a loop counter, right? Something that every time through the loop changes. It's going to be a string. I'm going to call it soda in the list. What list? The one in the business class. How do I get the business class list? It's public and it's static. So just like before when we were getting constants to set the size, we do the pizza order class name dot valid sodas. So this says string soda in. For each soda in the list of valid sodas, do this. Add it to the combo box. No squiggles. Maybe you did something right for a change. What's that last one? Is it like a dot? Must be something left in my array. I don't get it. I don't see a dot, do you? Okay, running out of time. That was a good practice for a for loop. However, welcome to object-oriented programming. We don't need no stinking for loops. CMB soda. You know, that dot might have been left over. I'll bet you it's in design. It's left over. That's my guess. We'll check in a second. CMB soda dot items dot add range. What range? Sodas. Pizza order dot valid soda. The range can be an array. One line said, take each one of these, add it to my combo box. Still getting that last one. Now I'm bound and determined to find. But notice we got the same answer. One line of code. Very common. Yes, that's in my notes. Very common that all my loops keep going away. They keep writing code to do it. Because this is so common, here's an array. Throw it in my combo box. They wrote it. It's built into the language. Where's that dot coming from? Here's my combo box. Does it have any values at design time? No. This isn't doing it. CMB items dot, what? CMB soda items dot add an order. Oh, that was, we were demonstrating how to take this to string it. What's in my order right now? Nothing. That's a unit 1 example. Go away. Make my dot go away, please. I give up. That's enough for one day. 50 minutes of embarrassment is my limit. I thought the embarrassment was over, but it's not, because I do want to test my validation on my sodas. I got them in there now. Okay, notice how big this method is. If you take all those comments out, one line. I need a validation event for that. So here's my soda, exclamation mark, still using the validating event. Creates it, cut it. It's a CMB, so it goes up a little higher than everybody else in the validation events. Right about there. Steal a comment. Maybe not. Oh, come on. Hopefully this will be pretty straightforward. Remove the error marker. Notice those are all the same. Try. Catch exception EX. What do I want to try? Send to the pizza class soda, whatever's in the CMB. If there's an error, display it. That ought to look familiar. Don't I need to capitalize or anything? No, because this is a list. The list of the constants are already capitalized. I believe my combo box is suggest append. If it's suggest append, it is suggest append, it'll automatically capitalize anything that's on the list. So I don't have to capitalize this one. And we're only accepting items from the list. In the future, that little bitty box is going to contain a list of all my sodas, just in case it's not a combo box. But in this case, we can type in the lemon lime, pick that, and the error marker goes away. Quick.